very good afternoon to our listeners. Once again, it's always an exciting time to come your way every Wednesday with Masterclass here on your Superstation. It's the 10th of October today. Days are ticking, days are counting. This is the month of October, 10th month of the year. And we're excited that Christmas will soon be here. Our prayer, as has always been on the show, is that God bless our homeland, Ghana, and make our nation great and strong. We're hoping that all the things that we share here on the show will help grow our Ghanaian businesses and definitely make Ghana better for it. Masterclass is powered by Joy Business. This program airs every Wednesday here on your Superstation at 1:15 p.m. and runs all the way through to 2 p.m. on Joy 99.7. My name is Yabanafo and I'm your host for the show. So for those of you who listened in last week, we've started a new area of discussion. We're going to be continuing that discussion today. And that area of discussion is in the area of public relations and your business. What is public relations? How does it even help your business? Last week we had here with us in the studio, and she's also here with us again today, a founding partner of Mahogany Consulting, the principal consultant of that company since 2012 in the person of Isi Asuman Johnson. She has quite a CV right here in front of me, but she doesn't want me to go through all of that. Isi, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me again.
So we talked about PR last week, and we're going to be continuing that discussion today. We talked about the definitions of PR and all of that. I'm sure at some point in the discussion, you will do a sort of recap for us, for those of our listeners who missed out. And then today we'll be moving into a different area of discussion. Last week we talked about understanding what PR is. We talked about the value of PR to your business. We also talked about clearing misconceptions about PR. This week we're going to be looking at identifying who our stakeholders are.
Yes.
We're going to be looking at mapping to our stakeholders, and then we're also going to be looking at developing some strategies to build and enhance these relationships.
Yes.
Time check in the studio, 20 minutes past the hour of 1. We'll be starting our discussion shortly, but we want to set the tone for today's discussion. This is a song from CeCe Winans. It says, All in Your Name. Let's take a listen.
It's all in your name, Lord. Whatever I claim.
That was CeCe Winans with All in Your Name. If you've just tuned in, this is Masterclass Radio on Superstation, and we continue with our discussion today on public relations and your business. Public relations and your business. Do you have a public relations department in your company? Are you the public relations officer in your company? Do you even understand what public relations is? Perhaps you have even more information than we do. The numbers for you to send a message to us, 0244340437. Send us a message, a comment, a question, an answer, any comment that you want to send us as part of today's discussion. The phone lines, we will be putting those phone lines out at some point in the show. But ahead of that, you can send us a comment, question, or any comment, anything you want to say on 0244 340 437. Issy, let's do a quick recap of what we talked about last week, and let's go into today's discussion. Today we'll be looking at identifying your stakeholders. We'll be looking at mapping out to those stakeholders, and then we'll also be looking at developing strategies to help build and enhance those relationships. Talk to us, Issy.
Yes, so a good afternoon to all your listeners, and a special one to my team at Consult. I know they're listening. So last week we said that PR does not spin. It does not lie, and it does not hype. And that is because it is guided by certain values. And we learned that honesty, expertise, objectivity, fairness, and the free flow of accurate information are some of the values that underlie PR. We also learned that in addition to crisis communication, events management, media relations and publicity, CSR, they're all part of PR. But then on a broader level, we learned this definition that it is a management function that identifies, establishes, and maintains mutually beneficial relationships between an organization and the various publics, or another word for publics is stakeholders, upon whom the success or failure of the company depends. We also learned that PR helps you to attract new business and helps to increase sales. I mean, by using PR tools such as a website, a flyer, press release, media interviews, a magazine, an event, consumers learn more about your brand. They learn about your products and services, and that understanding creates a certain demand for your products and your services. And they know that, well, this brand is a solution to my need. We also learn that it promotes productivity. And today we'll learn more about that through a strong employee relations strategy or internal communication strategy. You're able to ensure that your team is performing at their best for enhanced productivity and efficiency. And then we said it also protects your bottom line through proactive management of issues and crises. You'll agree with me that a poorly managed crisis, you're likely to lose your current customers, potential customers, you lose them, and then you would have to spend more money cleaning up whatever problems have been created. And this afternoon, let me add a fourth one, which will feed into our discussion. And that is that PR also helps you to create a positive image and contributes to building a good reputation for your brand or your business through the strategic management of your stakeholder relationships. So in short, we looked at that last week. And last week also, we learned something very important, and actually that is the foundation for today's conversation, that in addition to your customer, because we know that we all love our customers because they are the ones buying our products and services, there are other groups, and the definitions show that support your business. And we learned of the four main groups. You said there are those that give you the permit to exist, such as the regulators. Then you have stakeholders such as your employees, who actually provide the labor and the resources. Then you have your vendors and suppliers who provide the inputs for creating your goods and your products and your services. Then you have stakeholders with whom you share a common interest with, such as industry or association members or competitors. And then the last group, which comprises of family and friends of staff and customers, the community, the media, and then the general public. So I think in short, that was where we ended off last week.
Right, that's quite a summary there. I think one thing that caught my attention was the various stakeholders that are involved in one's business. And essentially, just to go over them very quickly, we've got your regulators that operate or that control the industry or the space within which you work. You've got your employees, who are also very key to your operation. You've got your vendors, people who provide a service of some sort, one service or the other to your business. And then you've also got the industry or association within which you operate. It's always important to operate under the cover of the industry which you operate, because then you're able to make your case even more strongly. And these are the guys who actually go to the regulator and make cases for policy implementation that enables your business. And then, of course, you've got the general public who are there for you. I mean, if you do the right thing, they're there for you. If you don't do the right thing, they whip you into line.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So these are your stakeholders, essentially. Right. Let's go into today's discussion.
Yeah. So, why do we need to pay attention to our stakeholder relationships? I mean, again, I keep referring to the definition because it sets the foundation. If these groups of people can positively impact your business or negatively, then you must be very deliberate and strategic in how you manage them. In fact, the ability to identify and map them, or as it were, analyze them appropriately, is the cornerstone or the foundation of effective communication. Because when you understand who they are relative to your business, then you will know why you should engage them, when you should engage them, with what, and even how you should engage them. And then also, identifying the right stakeholders ensures that you don't waste resources. You put money where it will be most effective, and then you also don't miss out on an opportunity to enhance your relationship with them. So we want to go back to the first step here, as I said, is to identify your stakeholders according to their relationship with you. Then the key thing, the next step, is to prioritize or rank them, okay, on the basis of how important they are to you and the extent to which they can impact your business. And then the final step would be, then based on your ranking, who is important to you, how you engage them. So let's start again with our categorization. Let's look at our enabling stakeholders. But even before that, these are some of the questions. I'm sure you're listening. If you have a PR unit, perhaps you've already mapped out your stakeholders, but perhaps you're a young business, you're starting, or you're now creating a PR unit. How do you identify them? So questions such as, does the stakeholder have legitimacy? I mean, does their stake or their relationship with you have the backing of the law? Very key. Do they have power over the organization? Are they dependent on the organization? Are you dependent on them? What kind of support do they offer? Is that support critical to the operations of the organization? And these questions will help you to map or rank or prioritize them. So we want to go back again to our enabling stakeholders, and these the enabling stakeholders are your shareholders, board of directors, regulatory bodies. Now, this group has power over the organization because they are backed by the law. And through this law, they can actually shut down your business. I mean, if we would call, I don't remember exactly when, but some restaurants were found to be cooking under unhygienic conditions some time back. And I remember the public health unit of AMA came in and ordered a closure. They had to comply. And they were asked to fix things before they could move on. And you realize that when you encounter such a problem with such a stakeholder, it affects everything. It affects your clients. I mean, your ability to produce whatever goods or services. And clearly, your business comes to a halt. And so it's important that every business is committed or resolves to fulfill all righteousness with these regulators. If there are issues, they must be addressed, they must be discussed, whether you write a letter or have a meeting or whichever way would resolve the issue. And often you realize that PR managers or directors may not be the people interfacing with the regulators. Remember, we said it's a management function, so it's teamwork. But it's important that the PR people in the office understand what the demands of that relationship is with the regulator and are able to make inputs on what can be done. Then we want to look at the next group of stakeholders, the functional stakeholders, and there are two of them. You have the input stakeholders, such as your employees and then your vendors. Now, I'm very passionate about employees because sometimes organizations focus on the customer and forget the group that is producing what the customer needs, okay? So let's look at employees. They are economically dependent on the organization and vice versa. They are crucial. The word is crucial to the effectiveness and the efficiency of the organization. They're providing the labor and the expertise. I mean, you boast of the team that you have. Your assurance to the customer that I can deliver this job is dependent on the solid team that you have. And the organization has a moral and a legal responsibility towards them. And we all know that there are labor laws that protect the rights of employees. And this makes them powerful and priority. So every business must regard the relationship with their staff very highly. And through effective employee or internal communications, PR ensures that there is harmony between the organization and its employees. PR also then ensures that there is a smooth flow of information within the organization by using appropriate channels to communicate with the staff, making sure that the information is received at the right time, in the right format, in the right tone, and even sometimes who is making the announcement, where is the information coming from? Okay. We also help to create and build an internal culture that promotes staff well-being. Sometimes in our consultancy, we come across an organization where staff have been employed, but they were taken through no orientation. And so they have no idea. They were just taking, this is your seat and you start your work. So if you're not taken through an orientation, then probably you might not even have a job description. You don't know who you're reporting to. You don't understand the demands of the job and what your rights are. Sometimes you do have an orientation, but perhaps it's not documented in a staff handbook. And so when an issue comes up, the employer may say, well, I don't recall making you such a promise because you're making a claim. Or the employee breaks a rule and you say, but you are not supposed to do this. And the employee says that, well, but I was not told. So it's important that we put in some of these things to help the relationship we have with them. I don't know if you read, I think yesterday and even today, one of the major banks actually organized an internal campaign to promote their values, to determine which staff demonstrated the bank's core values. And I think the winner has won an all-expense paid trip to Canada, and it was splashed all over the papers. That's excellent. That's brilliant. You know, it's something that must be done. At Mahogany, we have what we call a good book. And what we do is that we encourage each other to write a good deed another colleague did to you. And then at a meeting, we appreciate the person. It builds togetherness. It fosters unity and promotes positive attitude. I sometimes I don't want to bring this up, but it's an example that we can relate to. We also what happened to Midland, and I remember the comments. So don't they know the company's values? Why are they behaving like that? Let me play an advocate for the company. Perhaps they did. Or maybe they did not, okay? Even if they did, perhaps there was a need to constantly reinforce it through certain internal programs. Sometimes there's change management going on, and staff don't know about it. It's not communicated. You need to get the employee buy-in. And all these things feed into, when you realize that your employees are important to you, then from the word go, at the management level, from a strategic point of view, you have a solid employee relations plan to deal with them. We say all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So in building our relationship with our customers, our employees, we need to make time to have fun. Have pizza, have an outing, fun games. I mean, at Mahogany, we have pizza and drinks. When we've done a very good job, a successful project has ended, we have pizza and drinks. There have been times when we've gone out on a group to watch a play. Okay, I think one time we went to see a play by Nikomi, and we had dinner afterwards. It gives the staff an opportunity to relax and unwind and bond and connect. And it shows also respect. You know, when you have that with senior management, it shows respect and acceptance. PR, and I'm sure probably some people are wondering, okay, that sounds a bit like HR. Yes, PR always recommends that when you can, you should have an HR officer to administer certain technical aspects of your human resource. And together with PR, they work together to ensure that you have a good organizational culture. And you don't need to be a big business really to do any of all these things. I know some organizations provide healthcare benefits, medical insurance. Perhaps you're a small business. You're only just 2 or 3 or 4. Well, you can't provide medical benefits, but maybe you can buy fruits when your staff are sick. Make sure you're calling them to check on them. Give them a day to recuperate, to regain their energy in order to serve the customer better. And I must say that the reverse, whatever employees expect from the employer, well, when they default or renege, those same principles can be used against them, and you may lose your job. And so just wrapping up on employee relations and looking at how our employees are important, realize that when there is a poor relationship, it affects productivity, and in turn it affects the quality of products and services, and of course it affects your ability to serve the customer very well. Then let's move on to almighty customer. We say that the customer is king. The customer is always right, and yes, indeed, and I guess arguably, perhaps the customer is the most important stakeholder because they have legitimacy. You know, a customer can sue you over a poor service or poor product. Okay, they wield economic power, and they can collapse the business. Okay. I think these days, and I guess you can testify to it, now there is a certain consciousness about customer service, enhancing it and improving it. We're in October, and it's a customer service month. And so all over you see companies, organizations celebrating customer service weeks, etc. And that is really great. And so I wouldn't spend too much time on it. But again, if you don't have the resources, and I know that a lot of our listeners are SME, small businesses, simple tactics like smiling, being attentive to the needs of the customer, knowing the customer by name, acknowledging birthdays, commending them on their achievements. One of our clients won a big award in the recent CMNG Awards, and we sent an email. We said, congratulations. That is building that relationship, okay? Mourn and celebrate with them. At the end of the year, a simple card wouldn't hurt, okay? And it goes a long way to build loyalty. And one thing about customers is that make sure you take in their views and incorporate those views into your processes, okay? Because you're producing whatever you're producing for them. And it's important to have a comprehensive database on your customers. Customers also always love a personal touch. It makes them feel special. And so as PR people, we would always recommend that when you have information to share with a customer, start with a personal communication channel. Send a text message, send an email, and then you may reinforce that with a mass communication channel. I would rather get a text that says ABC from a you send a text to your customer than the customer hears something through the press release or hears it on radio. Okay, so as for customer service, like I said, I think we are gradually becoming champions, and so we will not spend too much on that. But then they're high priority, and every organization needs to pay attention to them.
Right. If you've just tuned in, you're live on your Superstation Joy 99.7. We're here discussing public relations with Esi Asuman Johnson, founding partner of Mahogany Consult. Do you have a PR department? Do you have a PR unit? Are you a PR officer in your company? Time check in the studio, 39 minutes past the hour of 1. We will be opening the phone lines shortly. But before that, we take a quick break and then we'll be right back.
The masterclass is in session, and you can interact with us via Facebook at Joy Business or at Joy 99.7 FM. And if you tweet, the handle is at Joy 997 FM. Don't forget to hashtag masterclass. You can also send us a text on 1422 across all networks, or join the WhatsApp conversation on 0244 340437, and our facilitators will address your concerns. Attention everyone, class is in progress.
Right. So we're back on your Superstation Joy 99.7, and this is Masterclass. You see, just before we went for the break, we're talking about the various stakeholders and how we map to those stakeholders. We talked about employees. We spent quite a bit of time there. We talked about customer service. Now, there was something you said which struck me very strongly, and it was about calling, your customers and doing the very little things that matter. It's not the big things that matter. I mean, this week, someone said to me, he says, you were talking about PR last week, and when you go this week, talk to your resource person, ask them to speak about customers. He says, I didn't know it was my birthday. So I got a call from a company, and they said to me, Friday is your birthday. Even I didn't remember that. Mm-hmm. And they said, where are you going to be on Friday? And this person said, of course, I'm going to be in the office. That's okay. We'll see you on Friday. Yeah. I think that it's the little things that matter. So we cannot harp on it any stronger than we have.
No, we can't. And these are the things that build loyalty.
Right.
We spend so much time in advertising and promoting our products and services, and so now you have a customer who is using your product. And there are many other products on the market, by the way. So can you imagine what happens to this person who gets a call from the company that says it's your birthday? And I guess they are adding on with a cake or a pleasant surprise.
Because
that's loyalty,
they
right? They
need a reason to make that choice, distinguishing you from the pile. Mm-hmm. Time check in the studio, 41 minutes past the hour of 1. Phone lines are now open. Pick up that phone, give us a call on 0302 216 541. That's 0302 216 541. You can also send us your questions or comments on 0244 340 437. We want to hear your thoughts. We want you to be a part of this discussion. Let's share your thoughts. Do you agree with the discussion here? Do you not agree? What has your personal experience been? Pick up that phone, give us a call on 0302 216 541, or send us a WhatsApp on 0244 340 437. And so, just to go back, very briefly, You talked about the various publics that we have. And I mean, we've talked about regulators. These guys are backed by law and they have the power to shut you down. And so you ask the question, in assessing your stakeholders, you ask the question, once you've been able to identify them, you ask a very key question. Do they have legitimacy? And that's key, isn't it?
Very key.
Because you need to understand what support they're working with. Can they shut me down? And if you look at all the various, stakeholders we've listed here, i.e. your regulators, employees, vendors, industry, general public, they can sort of take something away from you.
When we get to the conversation where we have the general public or
Right.
what we call the diffuse stakeholders who don't usually have a direct relationship with you, you'll be amazed at the power they can wield at certain times.
In this era of social media and all that.
Yes.
I think we had a question from last week.
Yes, we
Maybe
did.
we'll answer that
Okay.
and then we'll continue with the discussion. Right.
Yeah, so the question said, why do CEOs answer questions to the media and not PROs? And I will say that it depends on the occasion or the situation. Okay, if it's a big event of the company, they're opening a new head office branch, it's a new product launch, it's appropriate then that the CEO speaks to the matter or addresses media interviews. Okay, it's a big milestone for the organization, and the CEO is the head and leading that drive, leading that vision. So it's appropriate that the CEO speaks. Sometimes also the issue might be technical, and PR people understand everything, but we might not be the technical people, and so if
speak
it's
to the issue.
technical, the CEO may speak, or even sometimes you might have a unit head speak about
the
it,
issue, yeah.
to the issue. And of course, when there is a crisis, we all seem to like crisis, but when there's a crisis, it's important for the CEO to speak, because then you see ownership, you see is it accepting responsibility for what has happened? And when the CEO speaks, it has more legitimacy than the PRO who is speaking, okay?
Right.
And in these times when the CEO has to speak, it's important that the CEO is given media training. And so that's one of the things that PR people do. We give media training for top management. How do you face up to the media? How do you answer questions, your expressions, your gestures, your mannerisms? We even go to the extent of guiding them with speaking points and prepping
What to
them.
say and what not to say.
What to say and what not to say. At the end of the day, we are building a relationship. We need to convey the right information, okay? And sometimes, even when you are upset by something, you need to show concern, and so you need to be guided. And so,
I'm just tempted to ask this question. You know, I'm not sure it happens a lot here in this country because people will always ask questions and people will answer. But you find that in other jurisdictions, you find comments like no further comments, and then the communication is just one way. You know, we're talking about propaganda last week. Just speak to us about that. You know, is that the best way not to make a mistake when you're speaking about something that has gone really, really, really bad, and you have to come out there and make a statement? You know, and just before you answer that, numbers to call 0302-216-541. Pick up that phone, give us a call. This is Masterclass here on your Superstation, and we're discussing public relations. What is it about? What should it actually be? Is it alive in Ghana today? Is it in your company? Do you have a public relations department? Send us your comments, your thoughts on 0244-340-437. That's WhatsApp, 0244-340-437. Or pick up that phone and give us a call on 0302-216-541. No further comments. If you talk to us.
yes. So sometimes really the organization doesn't have any more comments to make, but it's about how you communicate it and explain that at this point, this is all that we have, and when we have more information, we will come back to you. Sometimes the issue is in court. Okay, if there's a legal aspect of it and it's in court, you realize that you would want to refrain from whatever you say, and so an organization might say that. But as much as possible, we always encourage an organization to share as much information as possible, and to say it and to provide the information from a point of view where you commiserate, you understand the anxiety, you understand the need of your stakeholder to understand the situation. So sometimes, yes, there is.
I'll
no
share this
comment.
with you. I mean, and this is in the public domain, so I suppose I can talk about it. Today on the Super Morning Show, and I was listening when I was driving to work. You know, I don't know if it was, but I suppose it was a PRO of the Ghana Highways Authority, and she was speaking to Daniel about some road issues which had come up in the media. I mean, the flooding that happened on the N1, portions of the N1, and about the fact that some portions were going to be closed off for some work. She did clarify. Now, this is what I thought of what the whole interview was. And please, if you're listening and you have a variant opinion, pick that phone up and give us a call. We want to discuss this and see if she did well. Okay. I thought that she explained what the causes of the problem was very clearly. She went into the technical aspects of it and explained how the actions of other stakeholders, and I'm happy to use that word, had affected what had already been done, which was also against the law, and how they had gotten in touch with those people and tried to remedy it, and it was still work in progress. She also apologized to road users, and that was very clear. I mean, I'm saying that because it comes back to what you said last week about owning the problem and not running around it and putting a spin on it. She went on to then confirm that work had started, and the minister had actually come out to speak about it. Daniel pushed her for timelines. It wasn't very clear, but she did mention that, Daniel could come to the ministry this afternoon for an update on work that was being done. So she did give some form of timeline. And then she said the situation was being handled. But she did also mention something which I didn't quite agree with. And again, I want you to be able to react to that. She says, we prefer to solve the problem, because sometimes solving the problem is the best response you can give to the issue. We're not so interested in responding to the media queries. So that's my assessment based on what we discussed last week of PR. You obviously didn't listen there because, we've spoken about it. But based on what I've just shared, speak to us about it. Do you think she did well? She spoke about the issue. Do you think
it sounds to me like an excellent case study, which sort of sums up everything they were saying? Because even right there, you mentioned that she's talking about other stakeholders. So you see that everything is a collaboration. What you do affects your right hand, affects the left hand. And you said she explained the technical issues. She gave information. And remember, one of our values is the free flow of accurate information.
Right.
And she accepted responsibility. One of our values is fairness, and when you're being fair, that means you're being considerate, and she admitted that something had gone wrong and apologized. And then you said at the end, she said that they would prefer to fix the problem than to answer questions, but that is the ultimate. But even while she said that, she had already answered all the questions that the media had. And so in as much as yes, we would answer all the questions, the ultimate goal is to get the work done. And I would give her an A+ for that.
I'm sure that if she's listening, she'll be excited to find out. As an HR professional, is it the case that you should be able to think on your feet all the time?
As a PR professional?
As a PR professional.
I think it's demanded everywhere. You should be able to think on your feet, and that comes from understanding what you're doing and having a good understanding or appreciation of your stakeholders at every point in time, reading wide, knowing where things are coming from and how they are impacting on whatever situation that you're in. It's a mark of any leader, any manager, any team player. Okay, and sometimes when you fall short, it's good to say that, well, at this time I haven't perhaps thought through. Give me a few minutes. Let me go back, check my notes, and then I come back.
Right. So if someone is listening this afternoon and they need some help with PR, is Mahogany able to help?
Oh yes, Mahogany is able to help.
And if they want to be able to reach Mahogany, how do they do that? What are the numbers to call?
Yes, so you can reach us by email on info@mahoganyconsult.com.
Okay.
You can call us on telephone number 0302 981 601.
Right. Can you take the email again very slowly?
So info@mahoganyconsult.com.
That's one word. Mahogany Consult is
Mahogany Consult is one word.
Right. Okay. Time check in the studio, 51 minutes past the hour of 1. We're discussing public relations here on the Superstation on Masterclass. If you've got any questions, comments, pick up that phone, give us a call on 0302 216 541 or send us your comments on your thoughts on 0244 340 437. You spent quite a bit of time talking about the employee today. So the question I have for you then is that, would you say that organizational culture is key to PR?
Oh, yes.
And how so?
Because the culture within an organization is exemplified or lived by the people within it. And we're talking about how PR is concerned with building relationships with an organization's stakeholders. And so within an organization, we need to look at how relationships are helping us achieve our business objective. So PR is very much interested in it. And if you look at the examples that I gave, simple strategies that when you implement, you realize that you will build a culture that is supportive of your business goals.
I think I have a caller on the line.
Okay.
Good afternoon. You're welcome to Masterclass.
Yeah, good afternoon, boss.
Talk to me. What do you have for us today?
Yeah, I think that all the things the lady is saying, they are good. But, as for plans, boys have plans. Boys know what to do when things begins to work. But the money to start the thing is the problem. You have the plan, you have at least some small container or store that we want to use to start a business.
Right.
But money, you can climb, and you fall down. So I want to ask her, how do you get money? Because if you want to seek sponsorship and you are not known, they don't mind you. They will take your letter, they will take your call, you will go and go. They will keep postponing, and then they will tell you, we have exhausted our funds, so wait for next year.
Right.
Meanwhile, you have arranged everything. You want just that small sponsorship.
The
but
funds.
They don't mind you. So teach us how to get the money to have the business.
All right.
Thank you.
Please keep listening. Okay, so we'll take another question. I've got Lukman on the line. Let's talk to Lukman as well, and then we answer both questions. Good afternoon, Lukman. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. And good afternoon to your resource person.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. I would like to find out, here in Ghana, a lot of us doesn't want straightforward answers. Assuming if I'm communicating with somebody, should I go straight to the point, or I should just run around and still come back to the same truth? Because a lot of people don't want straight answer. Thank you very much.
Okay, Lukman, please keep listening. Lukman says that people don't want to hear the truth. So should you put a spin on it and come back to the same point? I'm choosing your words. Okay, I've got another one on social media, so we'll take that one as well, and then we'll try and answer all of them. This one says, it's from JK from Minnesota. JK says, what happens when apologizing becomes a trend in PR? Thank you, Yao and Doc. Great job. What happens when apologizing? So let's take all three.
Yeah. So let me start from JK. It says, when apologies become the trend. And I would refer you to what you said, the lady said this morning. You said that really allow us to do the job. Let's get the job done. So you've apologized, yes, but that apology is not stemming from falsehood. When you're apologizing because you are committed to resolving the problem, and the apology is opening the door for further dialogue and reassuring your stakeholders that I am committed. And then the next thing is actually to take action.
Right.
And so really, it's not acceptable. You've apologized once. Let's move on and actually solve the problem.
Okay.
And so apologizing consistently is not a mark of it, but prove that you are sincere with the apology by getting the job done.
Lukman says that people don't like to hear the truth.
So again, we've said it here, and I keep repeating that it's the truth and nothing else but the truth. But perhaps, just to give you an example, maybe what you need to say is heavy. Instead of saying the person died, you want to use an euphemism, he kicked the bucket. And so you want to find a more softer way of telling the story.
Instead of saying the person won't take your call, you say he's currently unavailable.
No, but at the end of the day, I mean, the truth is always important.
Yeah.
Because when you lie, it will come back to
It
you.
will definitely come back to you. I've got
And
Chris.
then,
Yeah, go ahead.
can we answer the first caller? He was talking about not having access to
Yeah.
funds. I would say that sometimes when you go to an organization, they haven't heard anything about you. Perhaps they don't know about you. And so you want to start building your brand. You want to start telling a story about yourself so that when you put in an application, these days people go online, check your website or Facebook. It doesn't cost much to set up a Facebook account. Tell us what you're doing. Within the community, be involved in simple community activities. You're building your brand. People are getting to know your name. And also stakeholder research. Remember the questions we were asking before you prioritize. Those are research questions. And so before you go to an organization, please do some bit of research. Understand maybe their financial year. Perhaps when you take something in January, they would have already planned and there's no budget. Okay, and so when you've done a bit of research, make sure that what you're requesting is aligned to their needs. You are likely to find some funding, but he can give us a call. He can give me a call, and perhaps I can share a few tips on how he can access.
All right, we'll take a last comment here. This one is from Priscilla from Noguchi. It says, Inshira, okay, this is not Inshira, this is here. It says, tell AC she's doing a good job. She can hear you. Ask her if sometimes it is okay to try and explain to a customer who is so upset about a particular situation and won't listen, or just let them go away dissatisfied. We are proud of her. I suppose they are proud of you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
But
you.
she has a question in there. Let's try and answer that very quickly. We're running out of time, and then we can close the show.
Yes, as much as possible, try and explain. And if the customer is upset, you don't need to be upset. You need to be calm. Two angry people will not solve a problem. And if the customer goes away, there's something about when the person leaves, send a message to reinforce your apology. Send a message to reinforce the explanation. Or sometimes use someone influential who can get to the person to help you. It's all about relationships.
It's all about relationships. It's been an exciting discussion here today. So today we've talked about identifying your stakeholders. Last week we talked about what PR was, the value of PR to your business, and misconceptions about PR. This week we've talked about identifying your stakeholders, mapping to your stakeholders, and developing strategies. Obviously, we didn't finish talking about all of the stakeholders. We're going to continue that discussion sometime next week. But in about 30 seconds, just 30 seconds, what's the takeout for today?
So the takeout for today is that your stakeholders are very key. And in as much as you would love to pamper your customer, remember that there are other stakeholders who can impair your ability to serve the customer. When you're dealing with your stakeholders, always try to understand their interest, always try to understand their point of view, take in their comments. It's a mutual exchange, and when you do that, you would have a good relationship that will push your business.
Push your business. Thank you so much, AC. Next week, we're back here on your radio, same time, discussing PR and how it can help your business. Do make a date with us. My name is Yabana. Up next is the news at 2. Thank you for listening.